Still typing them. Okay, I'm going to start letting people in.
Okay. 60 seconds.
I'm going to
Filzengraben Boulevard. Filzengraben Boulevard. Julia set number 2. They moisten my head before it goes in. I got used to waiting as it went in. I thought they were watching just me with special materials only for me on mainframes and laptops and all kinds of space. I waited to be Miss Moist Material Mate. Subways and bridges and celebrity homes, organ, tool, and delivery rooms, virus tub eaters and fake heads of state, protocol masters, and computer room dates, security, pain, and cyberhead eaters, insertions galore for part-time repeaters. Now, biotechnology circus parades, chemical treasures and protection mistakes, deep pagan masters, fences and pews, capitalist insertion of right-winger glue, liberators, debilitators, and reclaimers of waste. I died during sprays at the germ cycle place. Everything I had and owned was covered with hand-cut plastic sheeting. Julia set number 3. I tried to square off against ramrods in space. Plantation discoveries of how women rate. My synchro delusions, my hurry, my haste, toxic disclosure and bodily waste, insatiable mold and mildew of taste. A once-over diss was all that I'd rate. His watching when putrid, his glory, my fate, rubbing it, teasing it. Director, please wait! Deep in a forest of cool resignation, we have founded Security Nation. Deep in a forest of cool resignation, we have founded Security Nation. Deep in a forest of cool resignation, we have founded Security Nation. Mama bed, mama bed. When I was a little girl, my father was the sole salesman at a derelict Sleepy's mattress store in Burbank, California. Hardly anyone ever came into this store. It was in a low rent part of town, dusty and dirty. The showroom windows were trimmed with rusting slabs of sharp metal. They displayed an unchanging layout of beds on sale. Every once in a while, a man from Sleepy's would hang a paper banner advertising certain bed sizes on sale. These banners would stay up for a year, sometimes 2. There was an old silver aluminum Christmas tree in one of the windows. Although the street was dark and dirty, the windows afforded a spectacular opening. Everything within the store was exposed under harsh lights. My dad, if he had to go to the bathroom, he would have to make a quick dash to an unlit corner where a makeshift bathroom had been installed. It was an area of frequent robberies, and he often ended the day alone, heading, and the slim contents of the register were handed over at knife or gunpoint. Part of my father's job was to unload the truckloads of bed frames and mattresses. The truckers would stack them against the back wall, and my father, too small to lift or carry them, was reduced to dragging the bedding into the showroom. He got a double hernia from the strain and was left pleading with the drivers for help to no avail. His solution was to take painkillers and keep on dragging. At the end of the workday, my mom, sister, and I would drive to the store to pick him up. We would park in the back, out of sight from people on the street. Usually, we would arrive too early and have to wait in the store until closing time. Bored, I would play on the beds, jumping from one to another, bouncing around on the puffy ones, playing hide and seek with my sister. The beds, covered with plastic, were uncomfortable to lie on. Many had large, bright signs begging, "Buy me," or "Good deal today." It was a big store, considering that no one ever came in. Endless rows and rows of beds. Usually, we would hang around and watch our dad sit at his sales desk until closing time. Then we would help him turn off all the lights, pulling on their long strings, and leave. Occasionally, a customer would come in and we would run to the back of the store to hide while our dad tried to sell the beds. We could hear him in his big fake voice trying to tell the customers how good the beds were, how good the prices were. One day, waiting in the showroom, some customers came in, and we were too close to the front window to run and hide in the back storage room. My mom was real fat, and it was difficult for her to run. So we watched them surreptitiously and pretended to be customers too, slowly walking from bed to bed, loudly making fake remarks, hoping to convince the customers that we thought the beds were really good and that we were real customers. I went from one bed to another saying, "This bed is too big but nice and soft. This bed is really nice. This bed is the right size, but it's really hard. Mom, I'd like this one." After that time, whenever we were in the store waiting for Dad, we would pretend to be customers. Camouflage. Camouflage. I remember Warhol's first show was in LA because he couldn't get a one-person show in New York City. No one would show him. The first museum I ever went to was LACMA in 1968 when I was 14. I begged my parents to take us there. I remember I was wearing a reversible coat from Sears with beige on the inside and red corduroy on the outside. You could wear it either way. And because we were going to see art, a crazy thing, I wore the bright red on the outside. My parents didn't want to see the pop art group show because they were too tired after looking at Russian avant-garde. So I went up alone in the elevator. The elevator doors opened, and what was there? A pile of boxes on the floor in front of the elevator. And I was thinking, why is this here? A big fancy museum. Why were common, ordinary things from the store here? This piece was about the idea of displacement, and something about being in a strange place was so a part of me. Over time, I saw more Warhols, and I actually took a job at Max's Kansas City in, maybe I shouldn't say that, I was only 20, as a waitress in the summer of 1974. 10cc was playing on the loudspeaker all summer. Something about denial. I'm not in love, so don't forget it. It's just a silly phase I'm going through, and just because I call you up, don't get me wrong, don't think you've got it made. I'm not in love, oh no. It's because I could see Warhol and his entourage, and I did see cattle prods on the dance floor, not just lying there like Brillo boxes, but people were using them on each other for control. By the time it came to 1986, Warhol had created a series of camouflage paintings in the color of the American flag was one of them. I was in love. In 91, I'm in Paris working on Vigilance. I was doing surveillance at the Musée National, the Museum of Contemporary Art there. I was talking about surveillance and its amplification, and the new French government never installed the show. Meanwhile, the war, the first Gulf War, was being announced in French over the radio. I remember the night we heard some friends were passing through from New York, and we were filming each other getting whipped in the windows of the Cité overlooking the construction crane outside the window. The idea of civilization gone to war was noticeable. It wasn't the murmur, it was a chant of civilizations. We are going to fight over oil. I wasn't thinking of reusing Warhol's camouflage, a kind of sacred space. until the war and all the shit that was going on the French radio when I was in European space during that time. Pink was the way. Pink as birth canal and as a cover for war tools. Cover, penetrate, release. Methodologically, I had not used the camera before, but that pattern, I have to say, when I was a little girl and did abstract paintings on little pieces of paper, I did put small chunks of color together like that. I wish I had these pictures to show you. The copy was from a jacket of Michael Trier, which wasn't a super exact copy. The artwork camo was bifurcated into pieces, so it wouldn't be illegal. Because Warhol already had so many issues with copyright that just descended upon so much of his work, like the rights to picture and all that. The person who started electronic arts intermix, Howard Weiss, invented the contemporary camouflage used in World War II, became a millionaire. It's like, what are you doing after you helped war? Anti-war. He helped electronic art to be visible. After he died, with EAI, Barbara Weiss carried on, even more away from hiding things. EAI now has free access and open streaming of video in all its art history glory. So from visionary about hiding to sharing. The EAI Restoration Center helps bring things out from hiding, out from destruction, renews the voice. Meow, 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 meow. 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 Pilot. Pilot. When I was involved in the surveillance exhibition at Nancy Drysdale Gallery in Washington, D.C., I got to meet this other artist in the show. He showed a piece called Sub Rosa, a kind of disclosure of secret documents. Over time, he got a lot of stuff going, and we got talking. His brother-in-law, or some such relation, had been judged as one of the best fighter pilots in the USA, the stockage full of trained fighter pilots. He told me the highest ranked were not the young 21-year-old hotshots, ballsy and courageous ones who could stay up 6 nights in a row. The best, the tops, he said, these were older, like 35, 36, not 24-year-old Supreme shots. At the beginning of a war, when things were going to begin and to get very hairy, they would send out these guys as they were the ones who did the best with stress, who could multitask to the most incredible degrees. These would be the pilots that exceeded the abilities of most flyers. They kept on flying, handling the mental, honing it over the years. War start time, a time when a country might not want anything to get in the way of the task set to be sold. A ground to air and return skill set meant for buyers of the most specific stuff. So, as this artist, the guy that made Sub Rosa, told me his brother in law, if he was sent out, it would mean that the war would start, that the first Gulf War would start. I was fascinated with aerial combat and the idea that these people work in silence, this contrast between what goes on in silence and what's under cover. Like commands through a headset, through a phone, through the radio glowing green on a dashboard. I wonder if they still call it dashboard on a fighter jet. Dashboard, vector plate, digital display, a cleaner of autocoagulants, a journey, a pilgrimage, a quest center, care in the air as a robust institutional act. But fighting jets as a structure of care? Bad habits. Hearing, being heard. What gets heard as this world of disruptive silence beats on? No scales of justice like that stone statue up in the air. Quiet velocity. Well, some governments thought they made the scales, quiet turns into cross-talk, cross-time out, sacrifice as part of life, moments of quiet relief when you land. Landing as a strategy to buy time, velocity and thrust, velocity and thrust. This is a trans state. It is the trajectory, the force, the multi-talking heads to one person at once. One headset has the president of a country. Another ear hears a squadron commander. From another speaker, they hear a hum or machine at an unknown location positioning a missile to fire at its command. So there is this noise of the atmosphere being guzzled by engines, ingestion stations, suck and export, or is it exhale, swell yourself and slip into a hole with your speedo and your altimeter gauge? Global trade. And now we do it on our phones. Here, I have a phone No, it's a mobile device. No, it's a body extension. No, it's a heads-up display. Now it makes for a digital penetration target over time. A security issue. Your short-sighted, bedridden, historical reach for security. My head is barely up. But how do I handle this heads up situation? A system of trust in the air. Is it a chance to hold my mobile to help build momentum for a social transformation? Maybe I take off my fighter pilot jacket and change what is my highest priority. This bed is also a place, a trans state between hardness and softness of the site. I'm here on Filzengraben Boulevard, not in the air. I'm on the ground and I accelerate with your buzz through my headset, through this tiny camera, through the Apple company, through Rhine Energy, and through the buzz of your voice into my naked hand. My naked hand. Where are your naked hands now? One person has a hand. Your buzz, my body, your face, my screen, your square, your money, your ideas, my life, your call, my action, fly, buy, bounce, bridge,